Hey there, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie Lindahl. I am a personal trainer and owner of Fit Like a Girl Personal Training. So in today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about my pregnancy journey and fitness and how my pregnancy has affected my workouts and vice versa, and as well as how things have differed from my first pregnancy to my second pregnancy. Just a disclaimer with this video, I am not a pregnancy and postpartum specialist personal trainer. I am not a pelvic floor physiotherapist, and I'm not an OBGYN. I am just merely speaking to my experience during my pregnancies, how exercise helped and impacted me throughout my pregnancy, and that's what I want to share today. So please don't take this as advice. This is just my experience. If you aren't sure about exercise during pregnancy, please speak to your doctor and or as well seek help from a personal trainer who does specialize in postpartum and pregnancy workouts. So let's get into it a little bit. First things first, I will talk a little bit about my first pregnancy and how it kind of related or didn't relate to this pregnancy as far as workouts and everything like that goes. With my first pregnancy with my daughter, my 2.5-year-old, it was obviously my very first pregnancy, so I didn't really know what to expect when it came to workouts and what I was able to do and what I was not able to do, I should say. So what I just focused on throughout my first pregnancy was just getting, especially through the first trimester, was just getting it in and just doing what I could. So the first trimester for my first pregnancy, I was working a lot, doing a lot of in-person training at the time. I was tired a lot. Obviously, exhaustion plays a big role when it comes to pregnancy. But I wasn't super nauseated or anything like that. A little bit of nausea, but I actually found that working out and exercise helped. So that made a big difference for me in my first trimester to be able to, in my first pregnancy, I should say, to be able to work out and exercise really helped with the morning sickness and making me just feel like a little bit more of a normal person besides the obvious feeling tired and exhausted all the time. Then when my second trimester came along with my first pregnancy, I had a lot more energy. I felt really good. I was able to get back into the gym, doing my workouts kind of as usual. I was also training jujitsu a little bit at the time. Obviously had to modify my jujitsu and kickboxing training to what was appropriate for being a pregnant person. But I was able to pretty much do well with keeping up until about the end of my second trimester, when I started to get bigger and things started to get a little bit harder. Then I just mostly focused on coaching and working and then just keeping up with my strength training workouts. Towards the end of my second trimester with my first pregnancy, around 28 weeks, I started having a lot of really bad pelvic pain, specifically just right in my pelvis, especially right on my pubic bone, where if you are a pregnant person, you've probably heard about your pubic symphysis, where both sides of your pubic bone come together. And for me, that was excruciatingly painful. So around that time, I actually sought out help from a personal trainer who specializes in pregnancy and postpartum, because I do not. With that, I received a lot of help from her, as well as a referral to a great pelvic floor physiotherapist who helped me tremendously. And from there, I had to modify a lot of my workouts because I was experiencing a lot of issues and pain, specifically when I was doing like barbell squats. Something about having the bar on my back was very, very painful in comparison to something like a goblet squat or a kettlebell squat or just like a double loaded front dumbbell squat. For some odd reason, it really, really bothered me. So I had to stop barbell back squatting in my first pregnancy at about 28 weeks, as well as any unilateral exercises. So anything like lunges, split squats. I could do step ups. Step ups didn't bother me as much, but lunges and split squats definitely. I just couldn't do it. It was super painful. Deadlifts didn't bother me. Leg press didn't bother me, anything like that. So those were kind of the modifications that I took in my first pregnancy and carried it through up until about 37 weeks. Then I decided that I was had enough with exercise and stuff, and I was going to put a pause on my workouts until I was postpartum so that I could just focus on getting ready for the baby and finishing up work and all those things. So that's essentially what I did. My second pregnancy, current one, so I'm currently 35, just about 36 weeks pregnant, and I have been able to keep things along pretty similar to my first pregnancy. First trimester was brutal hard with exhaustion, and I was a little bit more nauseated this time around, where I had days that I honestly just, it was a struggle to get out of bed during my daughter's nap time. And it makes it harder as well when you have a toddler. So during my daughter's nap time was when I would also, some days in my first trimester, not all the time, but some days I had to lie down as well because I was just exhausted. So I found this time around, the exhaustion hit me harder. I don't know if it's because I work from home now and my bed is just a little bit more tempting because it's right behind my desk, or if just this time around it just hit me a little bit harder than it did the first pregnancy, but that's okay. For the most part, with my first trimester, I was able to keep up with my workouts quite well, and my strength, I found, stayed up quite well when I was working out. Into the second trimester, I got my energy boost back, especially that sweet spot in the second trimester where you're not really getting big yet. You're kind of growing out of your clothes, but not terribly, but you're not completely growing out of your clothes and starting to get uncomfortable. And I really found that was kind of my sweet spot. My strength felt good. My strength was actually going up. I was able to keep up with my workouts and things like that for the most part throughout my second trimester. And the main difference between my previous pregnancy and this pregnancy is I've noticed a reduced amount of pelvic pain. So up until about 2 weeks ago, about 1 or 2 weeks ago, I was able to still do back squats with a barbell on my back. Now it's just getting so exhausting doing that. So I'm switching it up a little bit. Same thing with barbell deadlifts. I'm at the point now where the pathway of the barbell and everything like that, I had switched from doing kind of like a sumo stance barbell deadlift to more of a Romanian deadlift just because it was easier on my back, to now I'm doing dumbbell Romanian deadlifts with my workouts, finding them a lot easier. Single leg exercises are getting harder. It's just a matter of balance now, because I did in this pregnancy get bigger faster, I found. So I did once I started getting bigger in the second trimester, I noticed that I got bigger faster, which did throw off my balance and stuff. So I did start focusing on doing some unilateral exercises just to help keep up with that balance. But now that I'm entering into the last phase and the last month of my pregnancy, I'm noticing that I'm a lot more topsy-turvy because I am just bigger this time around. But overall, I felt like with both pregnancies and with working out during both pregnancies helped me tremendously. I respect and understand that there are some women who just simply cannot work out during their pregnancy, and I completely understand and support and hold space for those women. For me personally, in my personal experience, strength training and keeping up with my workouts as much as possible helped create a sense of normalcy, because pregnancy, there's so many changes happening in your body and in your life, and anticipated changes coming up in your life, that it helped keep me centered and just that sense of normalcy and like, okay, it's not all bad. I can still be active and all these things. I personally struggle a lot mentally when I'm pregnant. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I don't love it. So for me, being able to work out and keep up helps a lot with that, even though I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm not going out for runs. I don't run anyways, but I'm not going out for runs or setting myself crazy goals. It's just being able to just go in there and lift some weights and feel good and get my body moving and work on some mobility and stuff that I really love. And for me, that's been the biggest benefit for pregnancy. I also know and hear studies and have talked to trainers who specialize in pregnancy and postpartum training that for women who can keep up with some form of exercise routine during their pregnancy, it's really beneficial to help them not only mentally, but physically preparing for birth, and then recovery from birth can be significantly impacted with exercise during pregnancy. So that's also a good focus for me to keep going with my workouts as much as possible. Obviously, the amount of workouts that I do per week were reduced. Before my pregnancy, second time around, I was working out probably about 4 times a week. Now I'm about 2 to 3 times a week, just depending on the week and how I feel. As far as how far do I plan in this current pregnancy going, I'm hoping that I can keep going with my workouts at least twice a week up to my due date. We will see. I'm not making any hard predictions or anything like that just yet because I don't know how I'm going to feel over the next couple of weeks. Things like sleep and movement and stuff like that becomes harder. My heart rate goes up a lot faster now. I need to take more rest and more breaks throughout my workouts. So we'll see over the next couple of weeks how I feel towards my due date. And I feel like I'll come on here and I'll update you guys on how that all went. So yeah, I will keep you guys posted, especially in the recovery process, when it comes to, and maybe I'll do another video on postpartum recovery for pregnancy 1 versus pregnancy 2. Obviously, I can't really do a comparison right now because I'm still pregnant. So otherwise, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please feel free to hit the subscribe button below, and you can also turn on the little bell so that it will alert you when I post another video. If you don't already, you can feel free to follow me on social media. I will post my Instagram in the description. Once you find my Instagram, you can also find me on TikTok. Those are kind of the 2 prevalent places that I mostly post. And if you haven't already, I also have a podcast, the Fit Like a Girl podcast. Is where I will post a lot of my more long form content on there. So you can also check that out in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.